Hey everyone, this is Jim, producer of the Around the House Show podcast. If you're listening right now, you already know we bring you the best tips, tricks, and expert advice to fix, upgrade, and maintain everything in your home without the headaches or the huge bills. But if you're catching us on the radio or borrowing a friend's phone, you're missing out on new episodes dropping straight to your device every week. So do yourself a favor, hit pause for just a second, grab your phone, and subscribe to Around the House Show on your favorite podcast player. Whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or wherever you listen. It's completely free, and you'll never miss an episode again. Thanks for supporting the show. Now let's get back to making your house work for you.
Get you on the radio, yeah, you gotta get on the radio. If the kids can only hear you, they go out of control. You gotta get on the radio. You want the money and the fame and the sold out shows, and you gotta get on the radio.
Welcome back to Around the House with Eric G. This is where we talk home improvement every single weekend. Thanks for joining us. We've got a special guest on the phone today. Dennis Stinson, Vice President of Sales for Fujitsu General America. These are those guys that are known for those mini split heating and cooling systems that you see on the wall. They're that name brand everybody loves out there. Welcome to Around the House, brother.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for the invite. Certainly very grateful to be a part of your show here and be able to talk some heating and cooling with you. Thank you.
Thanks, man. This is great. You know, I mean, it's such, with people being home these days, and whether they like it or not, all of these problems within their home have seemed to just become relevant. And it's one of those things that people, when they're staying at home and working from home, all of a sudden, that home comfort means a lot more for them just rolling in at dinner time and getting up and doing the same thing the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things when you spend a lot of time at home, you start noticing whether it's the paint on the ceiling or a worn spot on the carpet, but certainly your comfort system comes into play. And when we all have the pleasure, and I mean that sincerely, of spending a tremendous amount of time at our home with our entire family day after day after day, then we start realizing that we all have different levels of what we consider to be comfort. So we can fight a little bit over the thermostat. And when we have one thermostat, we can create some battleground. So yes, comfort does come to the forefront when we're all quarantined, if you will.
It's funny. In my house, it's the same way. You know, we just bought this house here. It's a 1977 contemporary that has, you know, Portland, we only have about 50% cooling systems out there. So it's kind of what I call an emerging market for cooling, because a lot of times we just don't get that hot. You know, if we do it's a couple weeks and everybody stomachs it. But I'm seeing now that even myself, we're getting ready to put a new system in here one of these days, that everybody in my house, and it's me, the wife, and her two kids, everybody is either hot or cold, and maybe all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And really, it's a matter of where people like to be comfortable at. So when we talk about mini splits or ductless, as they're often called too,
yep.
You know, there's really a couple of things that we think about, and really any home comfort system, if you will, you're really thinking about a couple of things. And one is the comfort, and that is, are you actually comfortable in every spot of your house? So when we took it a ductless heat pump, we were looking at individual comfort, so that when we go to bed at nighttime, if I like to sleep at 68 and my daughter likes to sleep at 72, somebody doesn't have a blanket or somebody's not sweating, we can set an individual thermostat in each room and everybody can dial in their comfort. We can also adjust the space with some zoning, so that if we have an unoccupied space, so if we're downstairs watching the ball game or the hockey game this time of year, and then go upstairs at nighttime, there's no reason why we need to condition the downstairs to the same temperature as the upstairs. So we can zone our house, and certainly that can make it more comfortable, but it also plays to the idea of efficiency. And then efficiency is one of the things that we certainly look at. One of the major costs in your home utility bill is really going to be around your home comfort system, your mechanical side of the business. is what's going to cost you some money. So you want to make sure that you're getting something that's going to be efficient, but being efficient, not being comfortable, kind of fights itself. So you want to be comfortable and you want to be efficient.
Yeah, that's one of the hard problems with your traditional American two-story house, that in the summertime you've got and you've got one simple air conditioning system that was maybe just the builder grade that was put in. The one problem you have is upstairs many times is 10 or 15 degrees warmer than downstairs. And then when it gets into the wintertime, you get the vice versa of that. And so you're always trying to trade off. And I mean, my last house, we had that. It was a decent working system. You're just traditional central heat and air. But man, it was either I was too cold downstairs because I was trying to keep it, cooler upstairs, or vice versa. And it was always this thermostatic battle of trying to anticipate what the other level's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the best ways to describe it to me from an old salt in the industry when I started in is that when you take a look at ductless heat pumps, not only are you talking about the ability to place the heating and cooling where you're using it, so we're not necessarily using ductwork. So we're sticking the evaporator in the area of use. So we gain some efficiency and do some things that way. But what we're also able to do is to control the temperature a whole lot more precisely by being able in that room and dial in the comfort a whole lot better because we can control it from inside that room. The way we really got started in the business when we came into the market some time ago, we were really brought in as a chill changer.
Yeah.
So we were mostly air conditioning, and we were brought in as spot heating and cooling so that if, somebody added a sunroom or they wanted to condition a garage or a basement, we were brought in for spot heating and cooling. And then as the product matured, what we found is that we could become a secondary source of heat for a variety of different things. So maybe we were a backup, or those that love the radiant floor, that's good heat. But those that love the radiant floor know that works with thermal mass, and maybe on those shoulder months in the spring and the fall, you do something to chase the chill or chase the edge off of the afternoon sun. And so we came in as that. Then we came in as a primary source as we got better and better and better, so that we could replace a major source of heating or cooling. And now in many instances, we're the sole source of heating and cooling. We have products that operate beyond nameplate rating at minus 15 degrees. So there's really, at this point, the product has matured to the point where we are and can be the sole source of heating and cooling in residential or commercial properties.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, you guys have been around forever, and as in my memory, at least, and I've been in this industry for, 30 plus years, that you guys were kind of the first one coming on that I really noticed were going after this market. And I'm sure there's other people out there, but it just seemed that you guys were the kind of the front leaders of all of a sudden people are starting to think about putting these into projects.
Yeah, absolutely. We were one of the original innovators into the marketplace. We've been doing it for quite some time offshore and came into the States and have been working strongly in the States as well. There's a couple of good destination brands out there, and then you've got, different tiers like you have with everything else. But we pride ourselves in working with a strong contractor base. We have a contractor recognition program where we recognize training and installation. So we try to tier our installers so that the consumers, when they're searching for them, can see the ones that got the training and the history behind it to be able to do a good job. That's important. As you know, whenever you hire a tradesman, you want to know that you're not the first time they ever did something. And our product's not difficult, but it's a little bit different. So a little time under the tires is a good thing.
Well, one of the things that I've seen out there is that there's so many homes across America that have that baseboard electric heat, and then they've got those window air conditioners. And I'll be the first to admit this summer we've got to go through the window air conditioners just because we're kind of trying to decide which direction we're going to go, because I've got a very inefficient 1993 system in here that my house was built in 77 with just a gas furnace, and no one ever, because we're in the forest, it doesn't get that hot, but we still get our 100-degree days. But so many people out there live that way, and they don't realize how inefficient that is, especially when it comes to their electricity bill in the wintertime when they've got baseboard heat just making that meter spin so quickly. And then you turn around and have that same thing when that window air conditioner opens up. There's such more efficient ways to go that'll put money back in your pocket.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right on target with that. So, I mean, there's a variety of different types of heating sources out there, whether they're electric or gas or oil to be able to do it. And they all have their place in the world. But what we're really finding with, the window shakers that we like to call them is they're not that efficient, although they do provide zoning. By nature, they provide zoning. But they're not tremendously efficient because you have the compressor hanging out your window. They tend to be very noisy. We can talk about whether the aesthetics of it, whether it's blocking some view. If you live in a good-looking place like you live, or the outside environment is certainly something you want to take a look at, then you can talk about the aesthetics of it as well. And then you can also talk about security. They're not all that hard to knock out of a window, and certainly we want to be secure with the way that we do it. So at the end of the day, they have their place in the world. They do. But if you're looking at it as just straight air conditioning, then if you have ductwork in the house, then you're going to take a look at it that way. If you do or don't, then it's certainly worth considering ductless heat pumps to be able to do that. Everything we make today is a heat pump. So you get heating along with the air conditioning that you're seeking. So in that type of position, we would recommend coming in with a single zone or multi-zone to be able to cover your property. I think I heard in a previous podcast that I was listening that you might have a loft area, or at least an overhang area. So in those types of areas, they can be difficult to air condition, and that's really the perfect spot for ductless heat pumps to come in and be able to position it really where you need the cooling, let it drop down into some space and take care of it. But when we take a look at efficiencies, when we're moving off of gas and we're moving off of oil, you're going to discover a concept called the strategic electrification of America. And this is really an effort by the utility companies to move us over to electricity, and that should be considered. So we talk a little bit about some decarbonization and doing that. And a lot of people have a conversation and say, well, don't they make electricity with fossil fuels? And the answer is yes, we do. For the most part, we do. We certainly have renewables, but for the most part, we do. But it's a lot easier for us to incentivize and clean up a single smokestack than it is to clean up a bunch of smokestacks across a residential area. So we can make electricity a little cleaner and a little greener. And so you'll find a lot of rebates out in the marketplace from your utility company to be able to convert over to an all-electric system, and specifically for a ductless heat pump. So in looking at your general viewing area or your listening area, I mean, take a look at the Oregon market or the Portland market. You're looking at up to $800 for a system, or down in Bend and Enterprise, it's up to $1,100 for a system. You get up into Washington and look at the Everett area, it's $1,100, or out in Chicago, you're looking at $700, and down in Missouri, you're looking at up to $1,500. So each individual utility has a variety of different incentives that come back to the ductless heat pump. So you got a lot of support out there to be able to take some cost out of it for the initial installation.
No kidding. I mean, I had no intention of kind of getting rid of my gas water heater and my gas furnace, but I'll be honest, I'm getting ready to do a TV segment with one of the heat pump water heaters. I'm getting rid of my gas one to put in a heat pump water heater. So all of a sudden I'm realizing that I'm got gas and I'm sliding back over to electric is the plan. And to be honest, for that one, it's just going to cost me less money in the long run. It's just a dollars and cents thing for me about efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so we take a look at the ability to convert over and get both heating and cooling out of it. And in some instances, maybe you don't, maybe you abandon the gas and use it as a backup in the basement if you ever need it at some point. But so you can have some redundancy if that's something you're looking to do.
That's kind of the thought process where I'm at right now with it, just because, okay, it's there. I don't really gain much by ripping it all out. And plus, I don't want to have to go patch up the hardwood floors and stuff. So I think I'm just going to do that exact same thing. And the problem is the way my house was constructed back in '77. I love the style of it because it's this multiple box with the high roof pitch, and there's a lot of vaulted ceilings and stuff. But it also has created this, where the staircase is in the middle of the house, this large vault up there. And when they designed the system, there's not any kind of heating or air conditioning duct up in that space. And so it all goes into the bedroom. So it's just this big loft that's not really conditioned. And it's one of those things that if I was going to put in a central heat an air system and upgrade that, I'll be honest, I'm not going to get the comfort without some major construction to that area and have to redo a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and that's certainly got to be considered in what you're going to gain out of it. So, I mean, when we talk about the efficiency side of it as well, I mean, our ductless heat pumps go up to as high as 33 SEER, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
Wow.
When you look at, 33 SEER. So that's worth saying again, right? When you look at the northern part of the country, for the most part, you would find the minimum SEER requirement to be about 13 SEER, and in the southern part of the country, because of the higher use of AC, you would see the minimum SEER be about 14. So even in the strictest area, we're going to be more than twice that.
Man.
So when you start equating operating efficiency, and you know how efficiencies are rated, certainly about SEERs and EARs and HSPFs that we rate on the heat pump side of it. But you know, when you bought that new F-250 that I hear you talk about driving around in, you know, you got a highway mileage and you got a city mileage on the thing. Then there's an ERIC mileage, right?
Yep.
And that's how you drive it. And that's really what homes are like. So we can look at the ratings and we compare one system to another, but your savings is really how you use it. So, you know, if I like to be 68 degrees and I'm just cooling the rooms that I'm living in, then I'm going to see some good returns on it. So it's how you use it, but we compare the efficiencies of one system to another over the EARs and the SEERs and the HSPFs. That's a good benchmark.
Yeah. One thing I do like too is that that you guys have done is you've really kind of engineered, you know, if you were looking at a heat pump 20 or 30 years ago and you were getting down always in the you know, below freezing in the 20s, that emergency heat light would always come on, right?
Wow, yeah.
You know, and now technology has come so far around that that's really not an issue unless you're kind of living up in the depths of Montana or places like that where you're getting down into the sub-zero temperatures.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the part that kind of excites us as manufacturers when we take a look at it. So back in the mid 80s, when I bought my first home, I bought a heat pump. I wanted to be very green, and because I also was an all electric area, and I loved the idea of my heat pump. But what I found is once it dropped below 42 degrees, I was introduced to a hard concept called backup resistant electric, and then I realized I could probably warm myself by standing next to my electric meter because of the spin that came off of it. But over time, what we have done with the technology on mini splits is we've gone to inverter technology. So the long and the short of it is what we have done is take an AC current into a DC current and pulse it into our compressors and to our fans. So we're operating these considerably more efficient, and we're controlling the flow of refrigerant. Really, the best way to describe a inverter technology, it's almost like cruise control for your car. So that if it's a mild day, we're giving you the amount of load to match it. So it's not all on or all off. It's matching based what the call of the property or the area is. That's
great. And then, you know, these days as well, one of the things that's changed so much is technology. I mean, I do a lot of national speaking, you know, to builders, remodelers, designers across the country on home technology. And I love that so many things now are getting to be app-based, so you don't have to worry about where'd that remote control go to control something. I can just deal with it with my phone.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the way things are going. So we have the capability now for our systems to be tied into an app-based. We also can tie them into many of the home systems, whether that be Alexa or Google Home, so that you can call out the command to that and have it increase or decrease or turn on and off. We also have some models that have motion sensors. We call it ESP. So we have units that when you put it in that mode, when you walk into the room, it senses movement in the room and goes to the temperature that you set. And when it doesn't sense movement in that room, that it goes back to some form of predetermined setback, either increases or decreases based on heating or cooling mode. So we can do it by a traditional thermostat that we use. We can do it by some phone-based app. We can do it by being able to communicate verbally with something in a room, or you can leave all that alone and just walk into a room and it'll adjust for you as well. It's pretty cool.
That is awesome. And then one of the other things that when you change, and I've done this before where I change from that, when you get away from that resistant electric heat, maybe it's that wall, fan heater that you have around that you got to clean every 6 months, or it's going to start smelling like, burnt dirt. But when you go through that, air filtration is something it's a big discussion these days, especially in these current times, of just keeping your air clean and, quite frankly, just making it easier to keep the house clean as well.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact that we're not moving necessarily air from one room to another. All the units certainly have a level of filtration on the inside. We've got what we call an apple catechin filter on the inside. We've got an ion deodorizing filter on the inside. So we got something for air filtration coming in, both for particulate and also for odor as well. So we can address that as well. That's typically built into the system. And the nice thing about that is it's very user-friendly for a property owner to be able to keep up on. So as we're used to changing the filters on our heating and air conditioning system, and we should be, then these are just as easy to pop in and out and run them under the sink for a little while and give them a couple of shakes and stick them back in.
Oh, that's great. So you're not having to be buying filters all the time and throwing them away and all other stuff. You're just a little bit greener by popping them out, cleaning the nasty stuff out of your air, running it down the sink, knocking the water off of it, and putting it right back in.
Yeah, and I like these filters. I was never a big fan of the hog's hair, if you will, that were reusables for central air conditioning. I always liked the disposable types, or even a MERV filter or a pleated filter. I thought they did a good job. But with these, I like the way that these come out. They're easy to maintain. The micron rating's good, so it does. They do a nice job.
Nice. Yeah, and that's so much better than, so many people out there go out and in their regular central heating and cooling system, they have that 1-inch filter and they go buy that 99-cent special that they get out there, and those don't do anything except maybe keep the kids' toys from ending up in your fan.
Yeah, they catch the rocks. That's what they do. Yeah.
As new homeowners turn into experienced homeowners, they start to figure that stuff out, because once you start realizing, I did a TV segment here in Portland probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I was talking about doing it, all right, we're going to do it on changing your filter and making sure, and the host of the show got a hold of me and said, "Hey, I heard you're going to shoot this next week. I just realized I haven't changed my 1-inch filter in my system for maybe a year." And we popped over there. It took 5 minutes to do it. It was a great example. It looked like a really nice blanket, but it's amazing how those things just get forgotten around the house. And then all of a sudden that's hard on the system, and you're just blowing dirt around the house anyway, which creates and now you're mixing it around the entire house.
Right. It just makes everything work harder, and you lose the level of efficiency to be able to do it. And our systems do really well because we're in the area where the demand is. And so that bodes another conversation. To be frank with you, we have a variety of different styles. A lot of people think of a ductless heat pump as being the high wall mount unit. We see it a lot when we watch home shows on TV. We see people doing additions or traveling Europe or being a little greener, and we see the things hanging on the wall, and they're good. They're extremely popular. By far, the largest volume sale is the wall mount, but we also make ceiling cassettes.
And those are cool.
Stuff in a ceiling, we do that. Yeah, they're nice, and they're not just for commercial. I have them in a property that I have, and they work very well. It's just a great distribution of air throughout a room, and it's up and it's out of the way. I like it a lot. We also have floor consoles, so if you're thinking along the line, and I'm not far from the Philadelphia market. We do a lot of baseboard in that market. We do a lot of radiators in that market. So we're taking out that thing that we're used to being on the wall, and we like the way that was there. So floor consoles come in, and sunrooms where we might have a knee wall with windows above it that fits in nice under that and tucks in there and gives great airflow. And then we also, for a ductless company, we also have ducted product as well. So we got a low static, a medium static, and now introducing a multi-position air handler. So it would look very similar to what's in most people's houses right now. So we've got ducted and non-ducted product and wall and floor and ceiling. So got a lot of options now, and that's not widely known. There are a tremendous amount of options.
Yeah, and as a designer, that's important to me, just because one size does not fit all when it gets into that. Because you're right, if you've got a beautiful view and it's all windows, and you're looking for an easy exterior wall to mount it on, everything high is taken. Now you start running into a few design issues as well.
Yeah, and we do in a lot of areas, we do places where there might be some historical or some architectural features that you want to work around. And so variety is good. Having choices is a good thing.
All right, Dennis, anything else we want to chat about today? You've got me a ton of great information about this stuff.
No, just tickled pink that you asked myself and Fujitsu General America to come on and join your listening audience. And thank you for what you do. Much appreciated.
Dennis Stinson, VP of Sales for Fujitsu General America. Thanks for coming on the show today, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. I wanted to bring back into our discussion here, guys, that, we were talking before about what's the lifespan of things. And that's one of the things that I want to talk a little bit about here before we go back out to break. How long do those furnaces, heaters, ventilators, air conditioners last? Heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, of course, as we've talked about in the past, require that maintenance. And I recommend everybody having that annual maintenance plan. Make sure that you've got your heating and cooling professionals, like Pyramid Heating and Cooling, for instance, go out and do that. That's who my local people are that I work with here in Portland. But most importantly here, furnaces only last 15 to 25 years in many cases. Really 15 to 20 in most instances. And then heat pumps, and they last on average about 16 years. Air conditioning units, about 10 to 15 years. Now, the interesting thing is this is all about maintenance when it comes down to it. You can make these things last much longer, but you get to a point where you kind of get over the hill, and one, it's more expensive to maintain. And more importantly, with the way energy savings keep going, you also lose a lot of money just in wasted efficiencies, because every year things get more and more efficient. They become more affordable, and that's one of those things that, that actually puts money back in your pocket. So there's a point where you get over the hill, and it's not cost effective. The other thing, too, is when you're looking at it, tankless water heaters, when you're talking that kind of thing, they can last 20 years if you maintain them, while an electric or even a gas one, you're pretty happy if you get 10 years out of them. Like mine that I put in the house here, that went, about 15 years, almost 20, actually, if you want to count the math, and I got plenty of life out of it, but it's also risk it going away. And that's one of those things you don't want to have a break, because it can cause a lot of damage. More of Around the House just as soon as we return.
Hey everybody, it's JT from Barbecue Nation. If you're listening to Around the House, you can also hear Barbecue Nation on this platform. That's Barbecue Nation, where we talk about outdoor cooking and fun.
Welcome back to Around the House. Eric G. This is where we talk home improvement every single weekend. Hey, welcome back, guys. I'm Eric G.
I'm Dane Vodder.
Man, it's this is one of those shows where we've been kind of all over the place. So it's like I got off some ADD medication, but I never took it.
Right? Well, we kind of, in the last hour, at the end of the last hour, you'll notice we kind of breezed through a couple different topics in our last little segment there. That was because Danny called us, or we were talking to Danny 5 minutes before we hit the record button, and he's like, I can give you guys a call, we can talk about it. We're like, absolutely, let's go. So what we had planned for the first hour of the show, we kind of condensed in the last segment there. But
yeah, thanks for rolling with us on this one. Hey, make sure you hit us up on aroundthehouseonline.com. That is our one-stop shop for everything. Of course, we're on the Facebooks and all the other stuff out there, but really, that's our one-stop shop. And make sure you hit us up, 971-233-8992 for questions. That's 971-233-8992. Well, let's get this one wrapped up here so we can put a nice little bow around this one. This is like reminds me of those shows that we've done in the past where we'd be on when we were doing live stuff all the time.
We had callers calling
in. I'm like, yeah, we didn't even get to touch what we were going to talk about today.
Everything that we wanted to, so now we got to breeze through it.
Yep. So we're doing a little bit of that. So we were just talking about heating and cooling, what that kind of average lifespan is for that stuff. And, windows and skylights are an interesting one too. Aluminum windows are expected to last between 15 and 20 years. And you know something? I'm going to put a lot of the vinyl ones in there as well. Depending on what brand you have. I'll be honest, with vinyl windows around there, especially here in the Northwest where we're at, there's a lot of people that bought lifetime warranty windows.
Mm-hmm.
And many of those companies are no longer around.
Therefore, your lifetime warranty is now null and void.
Correct. I can't tell you how many homes I've had that had lifetime warranty windows with no company around to honor that lifetime warranty. Now, here in the Northwest, we do have Milgard and some other great...
We've got some big name ones
out there that do a good job that I think are going to be around for a long time. But a lot of those builder grade ones, yeah, those guys are gone.
And then this is something, a lifetime warranty is always something that I look at it as a marketing thing. It really is to draw you in. But you always have to take into account who that's with. And a lifetime warranty for you...
Lifetime is not as long as you own your home.
No,
they're not going to sit there and replace your windows or replace your cabinets or
just because you've been there for 60 years. You're not going to get
you're not going to get that because there is a lifetime of that product.
Yep, and that's the lifetime. Once that's over, you no longer get any free stuff.
Yeah, this is not like what it used to be. What was it? I think it was. Geez, back in the day, I think it was Midas had a lifetime warranty on the brakes.
Yeah,
for like $10, you go in and get your brakes changed every time. And they do your brakes lifetime
they probably
warranty.
Lost so much money on
but they got you on every other little thing while you're in there.
Oh, well, yeah.
So you came in, you paid twice as much for the lifetime warranty. They didn't think you were probably going to own that car long enough to have to do brakes again.
Yeah.
Because that's how the American public is.
And once you sell that car, then the brakes you no longer have those brakes.
You don't have those brakes. And so you don't have it's non-transferable.
And the next person, doesn't know that they have a lifetime warranty, so they're going to pay to get the brakes fixed.
Maybe go back and get a lifetime warranty again. So that's where that's at. But aluminum windows, 15 to 20 years. But really good high-quality wooden ones can get 30-plus years.
Well, if you're in a forever home.
It's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Get the wood with the clad on the outside. And again, some of those guys have some really good window warranties out there. So roofing, we talked about this in the first segment. Let's wrap back around in the last segment here with it. Life of the roof depends on your local weather conditions. For instance, here in the Northwest, many times on the west side of the mountains where we're at here, biggest thing is going to be moss.
Yep.
Over on the eastern side of the state where we have a lot of listeners, it's going to be the sun. You get off into Dallas, Texas, it's going to be hail.
Chicago,
it's going to be wind and snow. So it's just depending on the different things you have. Of course, they get some hail in there too, but those are things that you got to be careful with. Now, you can really get some long lifespan shingles now. They've got 75-year roofs.
Nice.
You can get that out of. It's depending on what you do. You got your 20-year roof, you got your 30-year roof. But if you get into adequate maintenance is always the key with any one of those roofs. If you maintain it, you'll get the most lifespan out of it. And now there's some even coatings, which we'll bring on the show one of these days. If you've got that roof that's already probably past its 50%, there's some guys out there that actually can go up and spray on a conditioner that'll keep the tar from getting all baked out, so it actually gives a little bit of flexibility and gets you some added life out of that roof too. So there's some options on the maintenance side up there that we'll dive into one of these days. But if you get into, slate, copper, metal, concrete, 50 plus years.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Most people are not in their house that long in many cases.
True. They're usually, that's something I'm curious about is how long do people typically live in their house?
Not long. It's
usually,
20? I have to go take a look.
15,
depending on
20?
who you talk to and everything else, it's usually 10 to 15.
Okay.
Most people move around pretty good.
That seems about right.
They move around a little bit. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, but that's kind of where it is.
Especially if you built your forever home or it's to your specification and your liking, you're not going to move. Why?
Yep. And by the way, if you have a wood shake roof, those, we see those a lot on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Those are about a 30-year lifespan before they're toast if they're maintained. So kitchen sinks made of acrylic will get actually a 50-year lifespan out of those because they'll take a lot. Kitchen faucets, that's about a 15-year lifespan, which is about the average lifespan of a kitchen. So that's part of that 15 years you're kind of done with a kitchen at 15.
I was going to say, for most appliances and fixtures, it seems 10 to 15 is right about your ballpark.
Exactly. Shower heads last a lifetime if you maintain them, but everything else really, bathroom cabinets, toilets kind of have a fairly unlimited lifespan. You can always throw parts at them. But again, you start getting into efficiencies with toilets,
Especially with the way technology's been in the last 20, 30 years.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to run out to the end of the show here, but garage doors, openers, 10 to 15 years, so wooden decks.
Depends on weather.
Yep. Again, 20 years max on a wooden deck. All right, guys. Sheesh. One other thing. Let's hit one more. Let's go masonry. All those chimney fireplaces can last hundreds of years. It comes down to maintenance.
Think
about it. Keep it clean. That's the key. Same thing with doors. Doors around your house, the same kind of thing. Well, thanks for tuning in today, guys. This has been a rocket ship of a show.
It kind of reminds me of the old days.
It does. We really appreciate it. We got some great ones coming up in the future here next week, so tune in to Around the House with Eric G. I'm Eric G.
I'm Dane Vodder.
And you've been listening to Around the House.
Around the House with Eric G. is produced by, designed by Eric G. in association with Salem Media and distributed nationally by the Sun Broadcast Group. All rights reserved. Copyright 2020 designed by Eric G. We will be back next week. If you missed part of the show, check out the podcast of all of our shows at AroundTheHouseOnline.com. Remember, measure with a micrometer, mark with caulk, and cut with an axe. Thanks for listening to Around the House.
Hey folks, Jim here, producer of Around the House Show. You're loving the audio tips right now, but here's something new. Our full-length episodes and expert interviews are now on YouTube as video, so you can watch the demos, tool close-ups, and guest interviews, or just hit play and listen like a regular podcast. Just search Around the House Show on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button, and turn on notifications. It's free. And you'll get the best of both worlds, visual how-tos when you want them, audio when you're on the go. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app too. Thanks. And now back to the show.